how to defend using your guard against someone who's using pressure to pass. I decided to use the example of this no-gi roll between Rafa Mendes and Jake Shields. So let's get to the good stuff. Here's 4 keys for never getting your guard passed. Number 1, never let your opponent control your head, ever. 2, don't get pinned down. Always be the one in control of the distance. Prevent chest-to-chest pins at all costs. 3, keep your knees tight to your chest. Obviously, there's some exceptions to this, but generally. 4, always be doing something. If you're not working to replace your guard, work to sweep or submit. So keep these things in mind when you're watching Rafa roll with Jake here. Notice Rafa's body positioning, his feet on the hips, the cross shoulder post, which I'll point out to you soon, is going to be a major key to having a good guard. In the first exchange here, Rafa is on his left hip. He's not letting his shoulders touch the mat, not letting Jake control his head. As Jake attempts to try to close the distance here and climb up the body to try to create a pin, Rafa brings his left knee tight to his chest and just wedges it in between him and Jake and decides to settle into close guard. I will look at the cross shoulder post, a powerful distance management tool from Open Guard and Knee Shields. You can see Rafa use his right hand on Jake's right shoulder with his forearm across his sternum. The cross shoulder post is very useful for guard players and annoying for guard passers. It does a great job of controlling both opponents' shoulders using only one hand. Remember, you have to be efficient. Notice how if Rafa loses the cross shoulder post, then he puts his feet on the hips. He's always the one in control of the distance here. He's forcing Jake off him. And when he senses a little lull in the action here, and Jake's not attacking, boom, a nice well-timed arm drag, and he follows it right to mount. A little more of the same here. Rafa's playing a knee shield. Look how he's on his left side, not his back. He's basically built a wall of defense here with that cross shoulder post combined with his right knee. This is going to prevent Jake from ever being able to get chest to chest. The more aggressively that he tries to push in and try and fight, the more that Rafa is going to be forced to use his right hand and forearm, as he is right now, and really try to push Jake away. He's also was trying to invert there just to prevent Jake from being able to crush him. It's tough to crush an inverted opponent when he's spinning on you. So now Rafa really has to use that right forearm until Jake backs off a little bit, and then you're going to see him hunt that arm drag again, just like he did the last time, but this time Jake is able to successfully scramble away from him. A new exchange here, a little further along in the roll. And this time, Jake shoots in, and he gets chest to chest, and he's actually created a pin here on Rafa. Very momentarily, you can see he has basically a body lock here, low on Rafa's back. But in one shot, Rafa's going to use his right hand and kind of jam it into Jake's neck and shoulder there and push him off. I slowed it down here just so you can really see his hand come in, and in one shot, he's just going to drive Jake off of him. Remember, prevent chest-to-chest pins at all costs. Don't get pinned down. If Rafa was pinned down, Jake would be able to control his head and just shut down all movement. Rafa never stops moving here. If you watch him, he barely ever stops for more than a second or two. He's always doing something. As soon as he feels he's not having to defend, he's looking for underhooks. See how he's looking to lock his hands together to attack Jake's elbow. He goes back to his left side to attack an armbar, back to the cross shoulder post to push Jake away, back to the feet on the hips. He's just so fluid with all of his movements. Now Jake's in a standing position. You're going to see him shoot in, and see how Rafa just calmly goes to his back, brings his knees to his chest, and just resets his guard. He has his hand in. He brings his foot to the shoulder. He's going to reset that cross shoulder post. He's totally calm, too, which is another very important thing with playing guard. Being very relaxed here. Rafa's not tense. You can notice in the breaks in the action, his face, he's just completely relaxed. Next, we'll look at how Rafa deals with some heavy collar ties. Jake's really going to start pulling on his head and neck, and see how Rafa kind of just changes the angle of his body combined with good hand fighting. Here, double collar tie, he just kind of falls off to the side here, looks to open up space, wedge that knee in front of the shoulder. He's always the one in control of the distance, careful to never ever get pinned, and never let Jake get anywhere close to controlling his head. All very good guard principles to follow. This clip is more in the line of just to always be doing something. Rafa goes from a closed guard, which sometimes can be difficult to get some action happening. He pushes Jake away here. He's got his hand in between, and he's going to start to pull Jake's right shoulder, throw his right leg up and over, and snap on an omoplata. It's tough to finish attacks no-gi, so he's going to transition right to the leg here, chaining together attacks beautifully, something that we might look at in the future. Last one. You got to love the heart of Jake Shields. His shirt's hanging off like Rambo. He doesn't care. He's still going to try to get the pin. You can see Rafa already reaching with his right hand. He's going to wedge his right elbow in between him and Jake and get back to that cross shoulder post. Remember how important that is as a distance management tool. Beautiful display of jiu-jitsu by both these two guys.